Hey, Dwain, did you hear that Six Flags Great Adventures changing the name of Joker back to Total Mayhem?
Andy, please stop. You know, no one changes the name of coasters more than Cedar Point does.
No, that's true. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Beat the Beast, where news races the beast. Each and every week, we check out all the trending social media topics, the news, and latest rumors, all before the beast hits the final brake run. I am, of course, Andrew Barczyk from Chicago, Illinois, joined once again by Mr. Rumor himself, Dwain Sponseller. How's it going, Dwain?
Wonderful. It has been such a long time since we've done a Beat the Beast show. It is the off season, so I guess it's starting to get really close to hearing some new rumors going on out there. So real excited about what we've got tonight for you.
Oh, we've got a slew of rumors, but we're going to start off with probably the rumor that is actually furthest from being announced, and that is Halloween Horror Nights. Number 26 down at Universal Orlando. We've already gotten a lineup that's been posted, and let me say that I'm pretty interested. Now, Dwain, I know you're not the huge haunt guy. You are one to frequent haunts. That you've been to Kings Island and Cedar Point. You haven't been to the Mecca known as Halloween Horror Nights yet, but let me tell you that it goes above and beyond anything that you've ever experienced before. But before we get into the rumor itself, this is Beat the Beast, so we have to start that clock. 4 minutes and 10 seconds is on the board. Look at that. So the rumor is that we're going to get a whole new slate of houses. The big headliners that I think most people are excited for, American Horror Story is rumored to be coming in, something that people have wanted for a very, very long time. Krampus, which is from the movie that was released late last year. Another big one would be a house based on Alfred Hitchcock, which would be amazing in my book. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original version, and then another Purge, which I think we kind of expected. That's kind of like their go-to haunt now. And then a Return of the Walking Dead. A lot of people kind of fed up with The Walking Dead after last year, bringing it back, maybe. But the one that gets me most excited is Ash versus the Evil Dead. Now, we've seen Evil Dead houses in the past at Horror Nights, but now we're talking about Ash versus Evil Dead based on the new series on Starz, which is fantastic. Loved it. Watched all 13 episodes or whatever in a few days, and it was amazing. Absolutely loved the series. So I'm really excited about that one. Dwain, have you seen any of these films?
Believe it or not, I enjoy some horror movies. I've seen all the Purge movies.
Yeah.
It was an interesting type of deal for me. I mean, could that really think about what that could be like if that were really the case in real life? But I do enjoy that type of storyline. That is a horror movie that is more of a thriller type horror movie for me. I'm not the biggest fans. Like, for example, Cabin in the Woods, I thought was the most ridiculous horror movie in the history of filmmaking. Okay, and then people were like raving about it. I'm like, that's so stupid. So I have my likes in a certain horror genre, not the like I like the Jason and Freddy movies and things like that. So I do like watching horror films. I do like going to the haunts just to do them. I know we went to the one at Kings Island this past year. I'm not as a big into it as you are. I really enjoy Halloween. But in regards to these, I have seen the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, it's a good film. It's interesting about the Alfred Hitchcock. That one interests me because I saw a play here at the Actors Guild here in Parkersburg not too long ago. It was all about Alfred Hitchcock. and like it was the 32 steps or whatever it's called. And so it was real interesting. And so I wonder what that's going to be like, because when you think of horror films, Alfred Hitchcock is not really first thing that comes to mind.
Exactly. So. And it's more suspense based, and I could see them trying to do like an all black and white haunt. I think that would be awesome to have everything in black and white. Universal kind of played with that this year over in the all night die-in scare zone. They kind of played with that black and white idea, and it came off. I don't know if the execution was all there, but if you expand it and put it in this immersive room, a walk-through haunt, doing something all in black and white with very suspenseful, music and all that, I think might be really, really cool. I'm excited about The Purge. I love The Purge. In Hollywood, Terror Tram was amazing. In Orlando this year, we didn't quite get – we only got Purge because the whole Scream deal fell apart, and so we got the Purge House. And the other stuff, American Horror Story, people have been wanting. Krampus, they did Dark Christmas Scare Zone over in Hollywood. Now doing Krampus seems like a natural transition. I'll tell you what, there's also rumors that they're using both parks too, so that they're going back to IOA and Universal, which completely blows it all up, completely blows my mind, and would be absolutely amazing. Of course, there is the bell for Beat the Beast. Did not beat the Beast on that one, but you can't always beat them, as they say in the business. Anyway, for the next 3 items we have here, we're going to play a special game, a new game. And we're going to call that game Beat the Beast, Believe It or Not. Now, in Beat the Beast, Believe It or Not, we are going to tackle one of the latest rumors that have come out. That I can't even say these are rumors at this point. It's almost like pre-rumors that we have a number of parks already teasing stuff that's going to happen. So these are basically the teasers before the rumors have really hit. So we want to try and tackle this, and we're going to take our best guesses that we can come up with and then assign a percentage as to what that guess, how likely we think that guess will actually come into being when the park finally announces their new attractions for 2017. So, Dwayne, I think we're going to start with oh man, which one should we start with? What do you think? Oh man, such choices here. Let's just start with Busch. Let's just start with Busch Gardens Williamsburg.
Yeah, that's what I was going to. That's the one.
Yeah, so let's start with Busch Gardens Williamsburg. So, Busch Gardens Williamsburg, we have a teaser video out there right now where people in it are looking at blueprints, talking about drops of some sort, and before we get into this, once again, we have to start that clock. And there you have it. Now, I believe my best guess at this point, and you can believe it or not, is that Busch Gardens is finally going to remake Drakenfire. That Drakenfire was originally supposed to be made by B&M, that there's always been rumors of them putting a new coaster in that same location, whether it be a lot like Drakenfire or something completely new, I don't know. But I think they're going to put a brand new roller coaster in the Drakenfire area using the Drakenfire station, which is still there. And I'm going to go out on a limb. Most people are going to say that it's going to be B&M who's doing it. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's going to be Mack who is doing it. And the percentage I associate with this is going to be, I'm going to say 40%. There's a 40% chance of this actually happening. Dwayne, what do you think?
I don't think it's going to be a roller coaster at all. Now, I go back to what you said about drops. Did it say drops with a plural or just drop? Because that's See? And even if it is drops, we already have one tower, all right, at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. We have the mock tower, which is not really a drop tower. It can be both. It's just a observation tower, and it's also a drop tower if it wants to be. It's a Moser tower. And of course, we were talking before the show went on the air that could it be maybe a clone of Falcon's Fury that's down at Tampa Bay. So my guess is that they're either going to do something with the existing tower, which isn't likely because it's obviously Falcon's Fury was an Intamin product, or are they going to build another? All right, because Falcon's Fury is so popular in Tampa, are they going to do one here in Williamsburg? Now, there's a lot of news out there about not being able to do certain things at Williamsburg because of the land that it's situated on. So I'm going to say with my guess, because that's the first thing that came to my mind when I heard this. I'm going to do like a 25% probability. I like your guess too, because if there's structure already there with Rock and Fire, which just, they didn't take the footers and things like that. If that stuff's still there, they could do the exact same thing that they did with Verbolten that took the place of Iron Wolf. So what I think is that might be the more likely scenario. Will it be a B&M? Because they just did what was the last B&M that they did?
Well, they're doing Mako right now. Yeah.
Right. Yes. Right. So that could be, maybe they signed a contract like Cedar Point did, where that B&M is going to do so many coasters for that park system. Okay.
And at the same time, though, they're also working with Mac on Cobra's Curse. And then, rewind a little bit also on Manta out at San Diego, so they have a relationship with both these companies. And I'll tell you what, B&M was scheduled to build Drakenfire and then pulled out, and that's why Arrow came in and then ultimately built it. To rebuild Drakenfire according to what B&M wanted to do way back when might be pretty cool. But I don't know. The times have changed so much since then that would that design still hold up against other designs here that we have nowadays? Of modern coasters being built. But I'll tell you what else. If Mac gets the contract and we see a big coaster put in, something on the lines of Blue Fire or Helix, I'm telling you what, that's going to set America on fire. Seriously. Mac oh man. Any final thoughts on that one about Mac?
Well, I think we need a ride like Helix. I really do. I think that's the one thing that American parks are missing. I think that, and I don't understand why a park has not gone in that direction. Because if it's so popular in Europe, I just don't understand why we haven't, or why Mac. Is there something that's going on that's making these parks not want to go to Mac?
I don't know, but if you go out and check out the roller coaster called Flash, which is a Mac creation, it's absolutely amazing what they did with that, and it's just I can't even begin to tell you how awesome it looks. I attribute it to something that's like a Millennium Force combined with a Maverick. That we always hear that I-305 is that. I didn't get that sense when I rode I-305, but I definitely get that sense when I look at Flash, and it's at Liwa Adventure over in China. And it looks absolutely fantastic. It's got the out and back layout. It's got loops in it. It's got some high-speed turns. I'll tell you what, that looks like a real ride. And if they build something like that at Busch Gardens Williamsburg, it's going to be off the hook for 2017. I might say it might be the best new coaster already, having not seen any of the field at all.
Yeah.
So the next one we're going to tackle is Kings Island. And before we start the timer, Kings Island, Greg Scheid, the park president, posted a Twitter photo where he is looking at some blueprints. No other information is given. And so let's start that timer. And Dwain, we're going to start with you this time. What do you think it is?
I honestly think that it's time for something to go between where Banshee is now and where Flight of Fear / Firehawk is, to connect those two parts of the park. So that is a great area back there. It's park owned. There's nothing back there. We have seen clearing back there even when Banshee was built, because they cleared all that out, and Banshee only took about half of the land that used to be what the Son of Beast was. So my guess is that something is coming in 2017, a coaster. Now, we just got Banshee. We already have a Hyper. Do we have a Giga Coaster on the horizon? I think not. I am going to go out on a limb, all right, and say that Cedar Fair is finally going to work with RMC, and we're going to get a custom build, all right, for a wooden coaster on that side of the park that will be kind of the, other side between the racer and then the Beast on one side, obviously. I think there's room for a third wooden coaster. And I think that that's what people associate with Kings Island, with the Beast. They associate it with the Son of Beast. And I think that this is the perfect placement for a custom, something exactly, not exactly, but something that's very similar to what is happening at Dollywood. I really think that because of the terrain back there, that would be the perfect fit for a custom RMC at Kings Island. And I'm going to say 35%. I mean, because again, it's so far out, we don't have a lot of information, but that's where I'm going with it.
I don't think 2017 is the right time for that. I think they're going to push that off a little bit later than 2017. Banshee is a great ride, but it didn't move the turnstile like I think Kings Island hoped it would. And that's not to say that they don't need another coaster, because I think Kings Island has some of the biggest upside of being able to expand, and coasters are in that plan, I believe. I think 2017 for Kings Island, and people are going to throw stuff at me, but I think it's finally time that they use the old crypt building and finally put that dark ride in there that people have been expecting to go in there for quite some time. You could even make it into a coaster because that building's big enough. You could put a fully encapsulated, dark ride coaster, because at Canada's Wonderland, it goes outside, and it kind of ruins some of the effects going on because you have to make that first tunnel dark again, and it doesn't play well. At Kings Island, you could put, in theory, the lift hill into that building and have enough space to do a drop or some sort of coaster elements and still have the traditional dark ride. I think that's what's going to happen there. It's going out on a limb, but I'm going to say that the percentage of Kings Island dark ride in 2017, I'm going to put it at 65%.
So are you saying something more like the Guardian, or are you saying something more like Laugh Track at Hershey?
Well, I'm saying Guardian. It's going to be the Triotech Dark Ride, but maybe with a few more coaster elements on it. Because I think that building's big enough to handle what they did with Guardian, and probably do it better than what they did with Guardian. Because I think they have more space at Kings Island with it. That's my thought. And that time, we beat the Beast. Yeah. We beat him.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I'm still interested in why they built that building just for the haunt. And then we realized that it wasn't just for the haunt.
Yeah.
That there was a lot of extra storage back there.
Yeah. There's a ton of space in there. I think they'll be able to use it. Now, the last rumor we have is, let's start that clock again. Jason McClure was quoted in a newspaper saying that he believes Cedar Point is in the running for a VR roller coaster. He claims it's between him and another Cedar Fair owned park. We already know Canada's Wonderland is getting a VR coaster. They tested it last season, and they're going to keep that going this year. But the question is one, is Cedar Point going to get it? And two, if they do, what coaster is it going on? I'm going to go out on a limb and say that, one, it's not going to be Cedar Point. I don't think the technology is ready for Cedar Point, for it to come to Cedar Point. And two, the second reason I don't think so is I don't see the clear choice in what roller coaster it would go on. Now, they're testing this over in Alton Towers on air, so we know that it can go on bigger rides, but I don't see a clear choice at Cedar Point where this is going. I don't see the choice. Like, are you going to put it on Raptor? Are you going to put it on Mean Streak? I don't see any of them making sense to me. You gonna put it on Magnum? Like, get out of here. I don't see any ride, and even the smaller rides of Iron Dragon, it swings too much, I think, and it's gonna not produce a very good experience. There's Cedar Creek Mine Ride. I don't see the benefit there. It's already takes a long time to get people situated in their seats on that ride. To add the VR element to it, I think it's going to slow operations down greatly. I think it's going to go to a different park. And I'm trying to think of a park off the top of my head that hasn't really announced anything for next year. Can you think of any parks that haven't announced anything? What's Kings Island getting next year? They haven't announced anything for next year. They're getting the new entrance in the water slides. So maybe it's going to Ohio, but not to Cedar Point. I'm going to say no to Cedar Point, and I'm going to put a 90% rating on that it's not going to Cedar Point.
I'm going to say no to Cedar Point. If it was going to Cedar Point, my first guess would have been Raptor. But then I wonder if I don't know how the VR is going to work, because you're going to have something over your face. Yeah. And what's the nauseating factor going to be? Because are you going to be able to put it on a coaster where you're upside down, left, right, being swung left to right real hard off of a Cobra roll or whatever? I mean, I don't know what that's going to be like for a lot of these people. So that is because air, for example, at Alton Towers,
it's kind of slower. It's smoother. Right. It's more transitioned.
Right. So if we're going on that basis, all right, what's King's Dominion getting next year? See, I wonder. So
they're getting the giant the swing the disc, the frisbee.
That probably won't happen either then. So I was trying. That's right. I forgot about that.
Carowinds is getting the theater experience. Great America is getting the theater experience. Worlds of Fun hasn't said anything. Worlds of Fun, you got Mamba.
I think it's going on. I think it's going on a wooden coaster. I really do. If we're going to do it, it's going to go on a wooden coaster.
You got
going on Hurler.
Oh God. I
mean, but seriously though, because
it really will be. It might be the Hurler. Yeah, it might be the Hurler then.
So I don't know, but I mean, but I'm going to go with you. I'm going to say 100% not going to Cedar Point. There is not a coaster there that it can fit on.
I don't see it. Valraven is the clear choice to me, I think, because it's smooth enough. But why do that in the first year? Maybe down the road you put it on Valraven. I don't see it. Well, there's
but maybe it is Valraven, and they're not saying that. Maybe that's the secret, or because it's not going to be themed extremely well, although they've come out and said recently that it will. Yeah. But I mean, maybe that's part of it. That's why we don't need theming, because we're going to put VR on it.
And they did the whole Google Cardboard thing for the teaser campaign. So it makes sense to put it on Valraven if it's going to go on any coaster at Cedar Point. I don't know. Because once again, you're talking about long lines again for the first year of a coaster, and now you're talking about adding on to those long lines.
But you could really do a really neat virtual reality thing with the drops and stuff. You could really.
It would be awesome. Plus, with the medieval theme, I think Valraven's the clear answer there. I just don't know if it's going to happen next year, or they're going to try it out somewhere else first on a bigger coaster, say like a Worlds of Fun, put it on your Mamba, put it on a wood coaster somewhere. Dorney, has Steel Force, has, they're just getting new trains for their wood coaster, so I don't know there. But try it out somewhere first and then bring it over when the craziness dies down around Valraven, and then put it on Valraven. I think you have something there. So hopefully you've enjoyed our discussion this evening on all the pre-rumors circulating out there right now. And of course, I am Andy Robarczyk from Chicago, Illinois.
And I'm Dwayne Swanseller from Parkersburg, West Virginia. And as always, may the queue lines be ever in your favor.
Right on, Ride Warriors.